Hey, it's Tess. I thought I better go live because I cannot believe it's 9:30 already, and we know I'll get caught up and I'll forget. Today I thought I'm going to start a little bit with continuing off of a story that's from my book. Again, thank you for all the purchases. Thank you for the reviews. I appreciate you all so much. And if you get a few minutes and you haven't done a review, I'd appreciate it. And I decided, like today, I was thinking about something that started in the book, but I didn't actually tell a last little piece of it, and I thought I would tell it today. And in the book, I kind of talk about the fact that I was severely anemic for a period of time, and that there was a lot of work with trying. I went through probably about 20 years, but 10 years of it with two different types of setup, trying to get it managed and controlled. But what I didn't actually say in the book, that is that when I was dealing with this idea of anemia, I had a team of doctors, like my hematologist, my primary care. I had different teams that were helping me with different parts of the avenue. And what I remembered is, and it's unfortunate, this doctor has moved on and is not my doctor currently, but she had been with me for over 20 years. And while we were going through this process, she kept pushing me forward. She hated the pressure it was putting me under, because since I was dealing with anemia, a lot of people didn't understand. They couldn't see on the outside what was going on the inside. And I took a lot of flack, and a lot of employers didn't really understand the severity of what was going on at that time. And I remember that when I went through that, I was getting anywhere from 1 to 3 iron infusions a week. And for me, it was just a bag of saline with iron in it. My body was able to turn that into red blood cells. So that was kind of the avenue that I was on for about 10 years. But when that was going on, I always had to check in with my primary, and I was working with an oncologist, and it was the team that I was working with. But I remember when I finally got to a point where they found the tumors, they removed them, and I got through a period of time where everything had evened itself out and I wasn't going to have treatments for the rest of my life. I remember sitting with my primary care doctor, and this whole time she's never said a word to me about medical retirement. And she waits until I'm completely healed, and she says, you know, I have been holding on to the idea of medically retiring you for probably 10 years. And I said, my life would have been so much easier if that had happened. And she said something that it makes me think about, like the book, in that she said, there was a fire in you. There was something that was reaching for more. And if I had taken away your ability to keep pushing forward, I think your life would have been very, very different. And I thought about her. Oh, there's Hoda. Hi, Hoda. Good to see you. And yes, you'll see me soon. I have a couple things going on in the next week to 10 days, but then you'll see me in the morning. But so my doctor, because we were dealing with anemia, and I had treatments for 10 years, and when we finally got it all figured out and put to the side, and she told me that she had been contemplating medically retiring me, I can remember being deflated, like, why didn't you do that? And she's like, but there was something in you. I couldn't give you that sentence, because that sentence would have ended everything that you pushed forward. She goes, you had a light, you had a push, you had a drive for more. And she said, people that go down that path give up. They don't seek anything more. And I can remember at the moment thinking, I wish you'd just done it. But when I sit where I'm at right now, I understand what she was trying to say, is that I needed to keep pushing. I needed to not give up. I needed to go through things that I never thought I could go through, so that I could keep finding new avenues to go down. And actually, I should send her a copy of this book, because I know how to reach her. She's just not my primary anymore because she's off into another area. But I should send this to her, because she'd be really excited. Because she was my cheerleader through all of that, because we went through, like I said, it was probably in total, the 2 different phases were over 20 years. And I can remember being so frustrated when I found out. She's like, I could have medically retired you at any point. And I'm like, well, then why didn't you? And she said it was because she didn't want me to give up on life, and that was her fear. And as hard as it was for me to hear those words, it was probably the greatest gift that she ever gave me. And I thought about that when I read through the book, because all parts of my life have been that push to drive through things that the average person doesn't want to drive through. And I get that. I understand that. But I thought it was really interesting. And it made me think about the other thing too, because what are the next parts of my life that I'm working on? Okay, I pushed through this stuff. It's done. It's not ever going to hit me like it did before. But I'm working through the things about like the IBC policies, the infinite banking processes. We all, you know, we're finding out so much right now, and I don't want to get political, but there's a lot of things that we thought were working in our political systems that are being undone, and let's do it better and let's find better ways for everybody. And it's even like this infinite banking policy. If we can set up these systems and create banking systems that allow us more control, then why not at least learn about it? Because if it works for you, then why wouldn't you want to push forward on it? And it kind of reminds me that my life, God set me up from day one, however you want to look at it. My life has been about pushing past the difficulties. And I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't pushed past those difficulties. And that means that I've had to look at things that I was taught and maybe see if there's a better way. Or if there's something that I've stumbled on, is there another approach to it? Is there something else that I can do? I've never followed the standard process, and for those that have known me a while will know that I'm a natural redhead. And my doctors always said, I love my redheads, but you guys are the weirdest medical problems I've ever dealt with. So it was always kind of a funny joke. But it made me realize that maybe I had an advantage when it came to looking at these banking systems that Chris Noggle and crew teaches about, because I had to overcome some obstacles in my life, and obstacles that a lot of people don't ever have to, and I wouldn't wish on them. But maybe it has given me an ability to look at things differently and to challenge things and to know that there could be a better way. And I also believe very strongly that what worked in the past may not work now. I think about my grandparents a lot. They were on, well, thank you, AC, because I am a ginger through and through. Actually, my grandma used to call it Titan. She would call it Titan. And my sister and I are redheads. My mother was a redhead. My grandmother was a redhead. And my great-grandfather was a redhead. And no, it wasn't Irish. It was Scottish. But it definitely made me push through things differently. And I think about life like so many of us are afraid for change. Well, we need change. And I'm excited for change, and I want to see things move forward and be open for new opportunities for all of us as the world keeps moving forward. I don't want to be stagnant. And I think about like my grandparents. They were on a farm. They had horse-drawn carriages. They didn't have cars. They didn't have TVs. If they hadn't adjusted, what would happen? My grandmother lived until Y2K. She stayed alive until a couple weeks after Y2K because she wanted to see if the world would change. If we get stuck in a period of time and we don't challenge what we know, we lose an opportunity to learn something that might be greater than what we ever did know. And for me, that has been what happened during that period of lockdown. Didn't have a choice, had to deal with the world that we were given at that time. But during that time is when I dug in and I learned. I found out about these policies. I started following Chris. I started going to the events. I started learning and trying to share with other people after I myself experienced it first. And that allowed me to leave the W-2 world. I still work, but I work in a different way. But it brings me joy because I can be closer to people instead of a desk. And I did the desk thing for many, many years, and I was good at it. I could go back to it tomorrow, but my heart wants to be for people. And so it made me think about that, because my book, I will tell you, because this is personal to me. There are sections I still cannot read, because if I read them, they will make me cry. But it was my life story. But it made me realize that I've always had to be adaptable and to change when opportunities present and things appear. I've had to have that ability to look at things differently and to move forward. AC has redheads in her family too. And you know, a lot of people talk about, cinnamons, and a lot of people talk about hot tempers. And I'm going to say, you know, they may believe that, but with me, it's not the hot temper. If you trigger that hot temper, you've gone way too far and you'll never get back across the bridge. Because I'm one of those people, I'll go really, really far. But if you cross that bridge, I'm burning it down and I'm not ever rebuilding it. It's over. But that's who I've always been, is I give and give. And then when I'm done, I'm done. I wish you well, send you off with love. But I don't want to keep going down that road. But that's what I just wanted to talk about today. My life however was established and set up from the day I was born, has always been about challenging what I thought I knew. I made it a lot harder than I needed to when I was younger, but I recognize now that in challenging it, it goes better if I challenge it faster and learn a new way sooner. And if you look at just our world in general, it makes sense. We went from, like I said, when my grandparents were young, to horse-drawn carriages or horses, to cars, and to technology, and to computers. My aunt, who died very young, was working on the first computer systems in the late 60s. What would it be if one day, and I can't wait to see her one day and talk about what happened in my lifetime that she got to be the beginning of, that I can't wait to see what she thinks, because people know about cassettes and DVDs and floppy disks, and now it's like you don't need DVD players and that kind of stuff anymore because everybody streams. So if we don't take a look and challenge what we think is the right thing right now, we're doing ourselves a disservice, because the world is not going to stand still. It's not going to stand still at what it was 30 years ago or even 10 years ago. It's moving faster. So this idea that I've had to adapt and change, and that my financial life had to adapt and change, and honestly, it's a better process when I take back control of it. It gives me a hope for a brighter future. And that, to me, makes a lot of sense, because our world is evolving, and we either take the good with it and grow into a better place, or we become the victim of it and fight it the whole way. And I'll tell you, I love my dad to death, but there are things that he will fight because he is used to a different way. And it's simple things, like even for him, he is one of those men that you can listen to a motor and he can tell you what's wrong with it by sound. But he'll be the first one to tell you right now that technology has created vehicles where he'll take it in and let the machine tell them, because it doesn't run the same way. Talking, I don't know. Okay, it looks like I'm back. My phone was trying to reconnect. But he'll say that it doesn't sound the same as it did because he rebuilt his first car when he was 12 years old. So things evolve, and he's had to change his approach to things based on age and based on what technology is. So that's what I just wanted to say, is that I'm recognizing by the things I've done in my life that I've always had to adapt and to change and to move forward. And the one thing that I want to do as I move into the next phases of my life, or this life outside of the W-2 world, is help people to see what I've learned in this idea of the infinite banking concept, the process, so that if people are willing to learn, they can take back control themselves in the same way that I have. Life is better when you dig in and try to see what you think you know, and if there's a better way to approach it moving forward. So since it looks like my phone is going a little slow and the internet is not exactly right, I will let you guys go for now. But I am trying to get back on every day. I don't think I did yesterday, but I'm trying to be back on every day, because that was something I was pretty faithful to. I had over 1,000 videos. I actually do have over 1,000 videos floating out there. And it's time for me to get back to talking and actually start practicing public speaking, because I want to share with people what I've learned and hope that through that process I'm able to help people. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. And again, thank you for everyone who's purchased the book. Thank you for the reviews. I'm humbled. I'm grateful. And I am so appreciative. Have a beautiful night, and we'll talk soon.